Please be seated. This week is the 6-month anniversary of Roxy, our Pembroke Welsh Corgi, joining the family. Roxy is a rescue dog, and she's also my first rescue dog. I grew up a cat person, so dogs in general are still kind of strange to me. The happy, panting faces, the tails, or in the case of corgis, the behinds wagging, the frenzied excitement about walking around the neighborhood on a leash, no matter how hot or cold it is. And then there's the licking. I still can't handle much licking, even from Roxy, who's a family member. Now, Roxy didn't do these standard dog-like behaviors consistently when she came to us. In fact, she didn't have any indoor dog basics down. She wouldn't go to the door if she needed out. She had no clue what to do with a toy. And when it was dinner time, she wouldn't eat unless Mark or I sat on the floor and told her it was okay. Her foster mom from the rescue, Denise, said that Roxy was learning how to be a dog. She simply didn't know how to be one after living her life in a kennel for breeding purposes. 6 months into her new life, Roxy now asks to go out. She eats most meals without a cheerleader on the floor. And best of all, she smiles with all of her being. Somehow, by being patient, kind, and consistent, Mark and I, and Tiberius the cat too, assured Roxy that she was safe and free and loved. When I hit the point in this morning's gospel where the nameless woman hemorrhaging blood reached out for Jesus in the midst of the crowd, I saw one of Roxy, my corgi's, joyful smiles on that woman's face, a smile that radiates, I'm safe, I'm free, I'm loved. Heck, I can't just say it was my corgi's smile. I've had that same smile on my face lately as it's dawning on me, wow, I can say yes to that brunch date or that art opening or just look into the face of the person with whom I'm talking. I haven't felt as safe or as free since before the pandemic began. As human beings, we are hardwired for connection, a connection that God understood fully when he sent his Son to walk in flesh among us. Of course, we're excited that masks are gradually coming off. Hugs are happening cautiously outside the immediate family. It's just so good to see each other again. How long have we prayed to be safe and free from this pandemic? How that woman hemorrhaging blood must have smiled too, to be safe and free as Jesus' love saved her from the prison of her pain and social isolation. For in her culture, her gynecological condition of hypermenorrhea, heavy menstrual bleeding, deemed her unclean. She couldn't marry or worship with the community, and her family most likely cast her out of their home to save themselves from her disgrace. Jesus, according to Mark, assures her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease." Reaching out to touch Jesus in the crowd really was worth the risk to her. Jesus didn't just heal her, he resurrected her to a new life where she could embrace her community again. Our Jesus, God, who breaks down barriers to love. Our Jesus. Now, you might be thinking that this sermon is going to be about the woman with hypermenorrhea, how her act of reaching out to Jesus, trusting that he was Lord, changed her life and ours through the millennia as we too reach out in love, knowing Jesus is there and cares for us when we are lost, afraid, and in pain. I do indeed have a heart for anyone who is on the fringes of a culture's mainstream, especially that first generation of faithful Christians that are male evangelists, the literate men known to history as Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John forgot to name personally because they were women or children, because they were defined as unclean, or from cultures and people that weren't Jewish. No one wants to be defined by an illness, their profession, or their hometown. I know that I don't. Yuck. The God of love knows my name, and he knows yours too. Just as Mark rushes past the unique identity of the woman and of Jairus' daughter too, it's easy, way too easy for us in our busy lives, ever busier as the world opens up again, to rush past unique opportunities for connection and service on the way to what's actually on our agenda. Unique opportunities for relationships with fellow beloved of God who have names, stories, beautiful, radiant smiles, individuals who worship with us in person and online, individuals whose lives may be forever changed by a meal, an education, a healing prayer, or just having a neighbor stop, notice them, and greet them by name. Individuals like us who seek to be safe, free, and loved. I tried to count the number of unique individuals who laid eyes on Jesus in this morning's gospel, but I could not. They aren't essential to Mark's narrative. His priority is proving to his contemporary audience, who walked past multiple faith healers on the way to the market every day, that Jesus is the real deal. After all, Jesus didn't just save the disciples from the storm. He healed a woman with a life-threatening illness that ruled her life. He raised a young girl from the dead. No faith healer could do this. Jesus was God. According to Mark, Jesus didn't have time to stop and meet everyone in the crowd in our gospel this morning. It was situation critical. A young girl, the pride of her family, as she neared the age when her father could arrange her marriage, her family's hopes for the future lay dying with her. We know her dad's name because he was important, a leader of the synagogue, Jairus, meaning he who will awaken, not someone to be ignored. The disciples and Jairus himself pushed Jesus through the crowd to ensure he makes it to his next confirmed appointment, but they were already running late. Pressure, urgency, behind schedule, a situation that is all too familiar to those of us navigating life at warp speed from our phones, not just to post a selfie, order carry out, or track a workout, but to manage work, family, and here at St. Andrew's, ministry, God's work in action. I have asked myself often how Jesus might have handled the various technologies we use here at St. Andrew's to do God's work. Email, text, Facebook, the live stream, text in church, church life, the ACS database, the website, the phone, and the door system. How might Jesus have ministered in an instant hybrid world with requests not just coming in person, but online, a literal and virtual crowd of opportunities. Yeah, but opportunities requiring definition and prioritization too. As he was divine, I do suspect Jesus would do better at coping with the frustration and technology stress than I do. I'm sure he would be wiser than I am, asking for help more often. And he would take more breaks and laugh at himself when the technology won again. The ever-changing lay of the land of our 21st century hybrid road, all just the same as the dusty roads around the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus and his A-team carved out their ministry, serving the unexpected interruptions on the way to their next scheduled appointment. I do suspect that Jesus would embrace technology as a tool to connect, heal, and bless others. He'd pray along with our 818 prayers. He and his disciples would warmly greet those of you online this morning. And he would definitely monitor the live stream worship so those of you unable to come to church physically could participate fully. God's love embodied, Jesus would act decisively, kindly, so that each individual in front of him knew, beyond the shadow of a doubt, freedom and safety in God's love. Inspired by that unknown crowd in Mark, I pause now to acknowledge the crowd worshiping with us online this morning. Yes, we here in the room know you're here. Thank you for being with us. Please text guest or here to let us know your name. And that goes for you, those of you in the pews too. We're all here together. God certainly knows our names, but those of us on the church staff, we need some help. Thanks be to the technology that brings us together now. You, me, each of us, we've stopped here this Sunday morning. We've stopped in the midst of ever busier lives with somewhere to be next. But we're here now. We reach out to Jesus in person and online together. So let's ensure our community here at St. Andrews remains a place where anyone and everyone is safe, free, and loved in person and online. That begins with access and inclusion. If your picture isn't in our Church Life app so people can see your face, I encourage you to do that. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, come talk to me. Text somebody who you know isn't here in person or isn't online today. And consider one of our many volunteer opportunities in person and online to serve our parish and the outreach ministries that radiate hope to our metro and the world. On the dusty hybrid road together, we journey on, following Jesus and trusting we're going the way of new life together. Amen.